Borders, whether physical or ideological, have shaped the course of history for centuries. From military conflicts to cultural exchanges, borders have influenced political, economic, and social developments across the world. Some borders are famous for their historical importance, while others are reminders of struggles, divisions, or even reunification. In this video, we will explore the historical significance of 10 important borders across the globe. 10. Brazil and Peru. The Brazil-Peru border runs through the Amazon rainforest, a crucial ecological region. Historically, it was a point of tension as both nations sought control over parts of the rainforest. However, in recent decades, Brazil and Peru have collaborated on environmental issues like deforestation and illegal logging. The border highlights the challenge of balancing economic growth with the protection of one of the planet's most vital ecosystems, home to diverse wildlife and plants. 9. The Egypt-Israel border. The border between Egypt and Israel is historically significant for several reasons, particularly in the context of the Arab-Israeli conflict. Following the creation of Israel in 1948, Egypt and Israel fought several wars, including the 1948 Arab-Israeli War and the 1967 Six-Day War. After the Six-Day War, Israel occupied the Sinai Peninsula, which was part of Egypt. In 1979, Egypt became the first Arab country to sign a peace treaty with Israel, which resulted in the return of the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt. This peace agreement, known as the Camp David Accords, marked a major turning point in Middle Eastern politics and demonstrated the potential for peace between Israel and its Arab neighbors. 8. The U.S. Mexico Border. The U.S. Mexico border is one of the most significant in the Western Hemisphere. It stretches for nearly 3,200 kilometers, making it the second longest international border in the world. The border has played a crucial role in shaping the economies, cultures, and politics of both nations. Historically, the U.S. Mexico border has been the site of territorial disputes, such as the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. Following the war, Mexico ceded large portions of its northern territories to the United States, including present-day California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Over time, the border has become a symbol of both cooperation and conflict, particularly regarding issues such as immigration, trade, and drug trafficking. In recent years, the border has been a focus of debates on immigration policy, security, and human rights. 7. The Swiss-German border, Europe. Switzerland and Germany share a border that has been historically significant in shaping European politics. This border represents the division between Germany, a powerful and dominant state, and Switzerland, a neutral country that has maintained its independence for centuries. During the Napoleonic Wars, Switzerland was occupied by France, and after Napoleon's defeat, it was reorganized as a neutral country. The Swiss-German border has since symbolized Switzerland's commitment to neutrality. Switzerland's unique position has allowed it to serve as a host for international organizations, such as the United Nations and the Red Cross, and to remain outside the conflicts that have shaped Europe. The border also played an important role during both world wars, as Switzerland maintained its neutrality while surrounding countries were embroiled in global conflict. Today, the Swiss-German border is known for its peaceful cooperation and shared economic and cultural ties. 6. The Maginot Line, France. The Maginot Line was a series of fortifications built along the French-German border before World War II. Its purpose was to defend France from potential German invasions. The fortifications were named after André Maginot, the French Minister of War, who championed their construction. While the Maginot Line was an impressive military project, it failed to prevent Germany from invading France during World War II. In 1940, the German army bypassed the line by invading through Belgium, rendering the fortifications useless. Nevertheless, the Maginot Line remains an important symbol of the failures of military strategy and the limits of defensive borders. After the war, the line was abandoned, and today, parts of it are open to the public as historical sites. 5. The U.S.-Canada border. The U.S.-Canada border is the longest undefended border in the world, stretching over 8,891 kilometers. It has been a symbol of peace, cooperation, and shared values between the two countries. Historically, the border was established after the War of 1812, when Britain and the United States settled their territorial disputes. Over the years, the U.S.-Canada border has become a symbol of the close relationship between the two countries. The border is a point of trade, tourism, and cross-border cooperation in areas such as environmental protection, security, and research. In contrast to many other borders, the U.S.-Canada border is often seen as a model of peaceful coexistence, illustrating the potential for cooperation between neighboring countries. 4. The India-Pakistan border, the border between India and Pakistan, is one of the most contentious and historically significant in the world. After the British left India in 1947, the subcontinent was divided into two nations, India and Pakistan. This partition was based on religious lines, with India being a secular state and Pakistan being created as a homeland for Muslims. The partition led to mass migrations and horrific violence, as Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs were forced to cross the newly drawn border. The border between India and Pakistan has remained a source of tension ever since, particularly in the region of Kashmir, which both countries claim. The two countries have fought 3 wars over Kashmir, and the border remains heavily militarized. 3. The Sykes-Picot Agreement, Middle East. The Sykes-Picot Agreement, signed in 1916, is a key moment in the history of borders in the Middle East. This secret agreement between the United Kingdom and France, with the assent of Russia, divided the Ottoman Empire's territories in the Middle East into zones of British and French influence. The agreement laid the foundation for many of the modern borders in the region. After World War I, when the Ottoman Empire collapsed, the map of the Middle East was redrawn, often without regard for ethnic, religious, or tribal divisions. The legacy of the Sykes-Picot Agreement is still felt today, as many of the borders in the Middle East have led to ongoing conflicts and instability. Countries such as Iraq, Syria, and Jordan were created under this agreement, and the artificial nature of these borders has contributed to ethnic and sectarian tensions in the region. 2. The DMZ, Korea. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, is a 250-kilometer-long and 4-kilometer-wide border that separates North and South Korea. Established in 1953 after the Korean War, the DMZ is one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world. Despite its name, the zone is anything but demilitarized, as both sides maintain large military forces along the border. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953, ended in an armistice, but no formal peace treaty was signed, leaving the two countries technically still at war. The DMZ remains a symbol of the ongoing tensions between North and South Korea, as well as the broader conflict between communist and capitalist ideologies during the Cold War. 1. The Berlin Wall, Germany. Perhaps one of the most iconic borders in modern history, the Berlin Wall separated East and West Berlin from 1961 to 1989. The wall was a physical manifestation of the Cold War, representing the division between communist East Germany, supported by the Soviet Union, and democratic West Germany, supported by the United States and other Western allies. The wall was built to prevent East Germans from fleeing to the West, but it also became a symbol of oppression and the divide between the Eastern and Western blocs. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 marked the end of the Cold War and symbolized the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. It also led to the eventual reunification of Germany in 1990. Today, remnants of the Berlin Wall remain as a reminder of the division, while the city of Berlin stands as a symbol of unity and freedom. In conclusion, borders are more than just lines on a map. They represent the history, conflicts, and cooperation between nations. From the fall of the Berlin Wall to the establishment of peace treaties in the Middle East, borders have shaped the world in countless ways. Some borders mark the end of conflicts, while others continue to be sources of tension. Understanding the historical significance of these borders helps us appreciate the complex relationships between countries and the challenges they face in achieving peace and stability. If you like this, please subscribe. It helps. Thank you.